this is doing together over the last few months. Over the last few weeks, I have really been implementing listening to my intuition. And I mean, first glance, first feeling that I get without looking at the situation or listening to anyone or allowing outside influences. I think we discussed that. It's a really hard habit to break. However, I have been doing just that. I'm not saying that I have it down perfect. Probably none of us do. Moving forward, it will become a habit to do just that. I do know that when I don't listen to my intuition, it gets me in trouble. And when I do listen to my intuition, it just seems like everything kind of flows. And over the last few weeks, I have literally put that to the test, and those are the results, that I have gotten. Our souls, they speak to us in so many different ways. I mean, the obvious things, dreams, feeling like, gut feelings. We'll speak about intuition again. We're going to put a pin in that and come back to it. There's also another thing that I want to throw at you, okay? And one is called expansions, and one is called contractions. Now, with this, when you're in a state of expansion, you feel like you could do anything. You feel invincible. You feel like the day is just not full enough for you because you want more. You wake up. You're, everybody's slow waking up, but you wake up and you're full of energy and you're excited about the day that's ahead of you. You're full of ideas. This is called being in expansion, okay? Now, contraction is the complete opposite, and most people live in contraction during this day and age, okay? Most people live in contraction. See if this sounds familiar, kind of dreading getting out of bed, just the kind of wanting to be in bed, being tired and exhausted all of the time, but you can't understand why, getting a full night's sleep, but yet the next day you're like, why am I so tired? I just don't get it. Anxiety. Think about that for a minute. How many people are on anxiety medication and antidepressants and all these different things this year? And I'm not talking about like somebody that has, serious mental health problems. I'm talking about the average everyday person, antidepressants, anxiety medications. That's part of the contraction, okay? The anxiety, the depression, not wanting to get out of the bed, feeling like your wheels are spinning. You're taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's contraction. That's actually your soul telling you need to stop and you need to sit quietly and sit down. And look, I have been guilty of this too. Believe me, I have. And those of you that know me know that I have been. But sit quietly and just be. That doesn't mean do something. That doesn't mean watch television. That means just sit and be. Maybe go for a walk if you can't sit still. Exercise is actually a very good way. Working out is a good way to get in the zone. Obviously, meditation. But not everybody can meditate. Just go take a hot shower or a hot bath. But give your time. You need to just stop. You need to take a day, or sometimes maybe even more, and just stop and just be, and allow your mind to relax so your soul can communicate with you and give you decisions and solutions to what is happening in your life and why your life is all over the place, okay? Like I said, I've been guilty of it too. I get it. However, let's all maybe try to implement this part, especially into our lives, and see where our soul takes us. Now, I want to bring up another point, okay? I do bone reading, throws, and we communicate with the ancestors. All right, the ancestors, as I've said over and over again, put things in your path. When things that, like, they bring things to you, opportunities, protection. They bring people into your life to help you get things done that you need to get done. They bring people into your life that are positive, that can be a good influence on you. We are all connected spiritually, energetically, but not just on this earth. This is whatever you want to call it, the universe, the expansion, whatever you want to call it, everything is connected through energy. And what is our soul? Our soul is our energy. Okay? So when you are getting these things put before you in your life from your ancestors, it's actually you as well, because you are connected to all of that. It's your soul that's putting these things before you. You see where I'm going with this? So, just kind of sit and think about that a little bit. Just think of that on a bigger scale, in a bigger picture. Most people that are listening to this are, have already started some kind of a spiritual path or whatnot. And if you're new to it, that's perfectly fine too. That's perfectly fine. Do some research on it a little bit. Like I said, being in touch with the ancestors, it just makes sense that when they're giving you guidance, it's almost like it's not almost, it is like communicating with your soul, because energetically we are all as one, the collective consciousness, So, just a thought, a little bit food for thought, something that I've been sort of exploring recently that I thought was really cool. Whenever I had learned that months ago, and I was like, yeah, I gotta look into this more. It's very interesting, and it just makes sense, because I totally believe that everybody's connected, and everything's energy. So I found that interesting, that your ancestors are basically speaking through your soul, because they're a part of you and you're a part of them. So in saying all of that, there are other ways, obviously, like I said, dreams. And we are energetically connected. When you get certain things brought before you, that's because you are on the right path. Now, we talked about intuition in the last episode. I want to throw a few more things at you. Intuition, remember I was saying intuition is where you need to make your decisions based off of intuition, and that is hard. And the reason why it's hard is because we have been conditioned to use logic and intellect. We absolutely honor and worship logic and intellect, not just here in the United States, but all over the world. Yes, there are other places in the world that also utilize their intuition and their spirituality, but we have been brought up through society to put that intuition and spirituality to the side and just focus on logic and intellect, especially when making decisions. Here's the problem with that, and let me get through this, because logic and intellect, very important. They play a big role in all this. But logic and intellect are glorified so much that we forgot why the other is important. Logic bases decisions on our past experiences, our memories, other people's opinions, other people's successes, fears, all these different things. Okay, logic bases our decisions on those things, and that is not who we actually are. That might be a part of us that we are right here, but that's not who we actually are. Our soul is who we actually are. Intuition, our soul knows what's best for us, okay? There's no need for opinions. There's no need for interpretation. There's no need for judgments. Our soul has no limits, and no limits on its knowledge. So not only can it see what we cannot see, but it sees things that we can't even conceive, because we have never experienced it, or maybe the people around us, it's just on a completely different level. What I want us to do now for the next couple of months, I want us to focus on the difference between intuition and logic. Now, let me tell you, I said I was come back to this. Logic is very important. Logic and intellect are what gives you the information on how to get that decision, that goal accomplished. Okay, does that make sense? So that's whenever experiences and other people's success and different things like that come into play. Okay, that's what logic and intellect is. It's not meant to be used to make your decision or your choice. It is meant to be used to make it happen, to achieve that goal. Okay, so over the next couple months, what we need to do is we need to really pay attention to the difference between intuition and logic. And on a daily basis, and I'm not saying go out there and just jump right into it and be like, okay, I'm going to just make all my decisions on intuition. This is something that I personally am doing. slowly, and we need to do it slowly. I've said this a bunch of times. It's just like losing weight. If you lose weight too fast, right, it's not going to stay off. You need to change your habits to make the weight stay off. It's the same thing with this. If you do too much too fast, it's not going to stick. You have to gradually. That's why these episodes are so far apart. You know, you have to gradually make these changes and change these habits in your life. I am being actively aware of my intuition, and yeah, I've tested the theory many times over the last few weeks, and it has really just blown my mind. I hope y'all have too. I am going to start writing down, because I write everything down, when I'm using logic and when I'm using intuition. I want to see where in my life I'm putting these things, and that's what our next little homework is to actively be aware of where you're using logic and where you're using intuition, and see if changing it up a little bit changes things for you. Okay, something else I want us to really make a habit into our life, and we talked about this a little bit before, but I'm going to say it again. We need to make time to stop. Okay, just stop. Not do anything. Not watch the TV. Not play on the Instagram and Facebook. Not even listen to like music with words. Okay, I don't even think we should listen to music at all. I think it just needs to be, what I have studied clearly states that it just needs to be quiet. You know, it's okay to go for a walk. I know there's some noise in the background, but it's okay. Just let your mind stop 100%. And that is a hard thing to do. I am so guilty of not doing that in my life. 100% guilty of not doing that in my life. I do know that my best ideas have come up, though, when I've just kind of like just stop. And actually, my best ideas have come out. This is another trick. If you're able to, not everyone's able to do that, if you're able to take a short trip and pull yourself out of your everyday situations, being in another space will inspire you and give you ideas, because you take your mind out of what you do every day. So if you're able to do something like that, I know Christmas is coming up. I'm not talking about a trip to the family. What I'm talking about is go camping. Oh my gosh, the best way. You're out in nature and it's quiet. Go to the beach and just sit, you know, not whenever it's busy, but if you have the ability, the opportunity, and the ability to go and take a trip for like a day or so, do it, and just do it with quiet. Keep the TV off, unplug, no phones, no social media, nothing, no computers. If you've got that opportunity to do that, I highly suggest you do that and see what happens. But we have 3 things we're going to do. Well, one of them we're going to try to do if we have the ability to do it. Number one, we're going to start differentiating between logic and intuition and where we apply those in our life. Remember, intuition is to make choices and decisions we need to do and to move forward. You know, what are we going to do? What's our next step? Logic is the plan. It is the being able to do this. How am I going to get from here to there? Okay. The other thing is we need a quiet space. We need quiet where nothing's going on. I know it might, the sound of silence will drive me crazy at first. I get that, but it's okay. I'm going to push through it. And you don't have to do it all at once. Do a little bit and a little bit, and then gradually increase it. And then the last thing is if you have the opportunity and you have the availability, take a little trip and just take a break. Okay? I'll see you in a few weeks. Blessed be.